Tere kavan kavan gun kah kah gava, Tu sahib guni nidana, Tumari mehma baran na sako, Tum thakur uch bhagwana, Tumari mehma baran na sako, Tum thakur uch bhagwana. ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੀ ਸਾਜੀ ਨਵਾਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀਓ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. So we're very blessed that we're starting off the camp's talks at Seek to Inspire camp, and I feel very blessed to be able to share this talk with you guys. I just want to state that I'm learning just as much as you guys are, so it's about sharing knowledge rather than like me kind of instructing you in any way, shape or form. I don't want you to feel as if that I'm judging you in any way, shape or form, and it's just about us learning together collectively. I recognize some faces from the Sangat, some of you being regular campers. There's some new faces as well, obviously, but welcome and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some knowledge. So we were given a topic of I was given a topic of seva, and I went through 1,000,001 kind of thoughts about, because seva is massive, isn't it? It's like, you know, where do you start kind of thing. So I kind of focused on how the gurus have done seva, and in particular, because there was something in the news about Nishan Sahibs going around, I thought, let me focus on that topic. I'm not here to judge colours, I'm not into that aspect of it, but what I do want to kind of share with you is the historical aspects of the Nishan Sahib and also the meanings of it around the Guru's times as well. Okay, with a flag or Nishan Sahib, as you probably know, it's synonymous with a nation, isn't it? It's synonymous with the thought of a free nation. And with Guru Sahib's Kirpa, probably we've got more flags across the whole world than any other faith and any other already, you know, like the religions that we have there. Because our Raj is nature, is immortal, and it's everywhere. Not just this plane, it's in everywhere, in every planet, every universe where there may be living matter. The Khalsa Raj is everywhere. And that's something that we've got to comprehend. And not only comprehend, but understand how touch we might be. We're very, very minuscule in terms of the big idea that Guru Sahib have given us. So I looked at the Itihas, I looked at some of the understanding, the meanings of what the Nishan Sahib was. The name of the Nishan Sahib was something different before, and in Bani it appears as Taram Tuja. So Taram means faith, Tuja means the flag of. So the flag of faith. And this Taram Tuja, this concept of it, is going to be talking metaphorically in Gurbani. We know there's so many different examples that Maharaj gives. If they wanted to, they could give an example out of the tree and how, you know, the roots go down to the floor, how it blossoms, how it gives fruit, how it gives vegetation and stuff like that, how it converts oxygen maybe, how it sustains life, how it provides shade. There's so many different gun of a tree. That's just a tree. There's other examples that Maharaj gives metaphorically as well. And in this circumstance, the reason why I'm talking about metaphors is Guru Sahib themselves are the metaphor of the Nishan Sahib. I'm just waiting to kind of understand that. So we've got a flag outside the Guru Ghar, and that flag is synonymous with the philosophy of what's inside that Guru's house. And obviously whoever's in the Guru's house is Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So the philosophy of the Nishan Sahib has got to match with our history, and it's got to match with what's inside. Okay? If I was to have a Welsh flag outside my house, and you know I turned up and I can't speak Welsh to save my life, or I've not even born in Wales, it doesn't make sense for me to kind of have that flag outside my house. There's a misconnect there. So I'm going to be talking about Taram Tuja and the flag of faith. I'm going to try and wrap it up in an hour. If you do have questions, write them down. What I'm going to ask you to do is just look at your train of thought when you get to that question. It's a bit of a difficult thing I'm saying. So if you've got a question that comes up, just think, why am I asking that question? And just write that down, because that will be my question. So when I get the question, I'll ask you, what was your thought behind asking that question? Does that make sense? Because sometimes we don't know what the context is. And like, it's good to kind of understand the train of thought as well, to understand how you got to that question. Because randomly, my topic might be Dharam Tuja, but you might come up with a question that throws me and it's like totally not related, but it might be related in your mind. Yeah? So just write down what is the connection thing in your mind as well. And we will have time at the end to do the question and answer, maybe. And we can share it. There's people here who are also knowledgeable. They'll be able to share their wisdom and understanding as well over the years. So, when they gave the talk to us, they said, can you pick a pankti, pick a Bani verse or a Shabd, and then explain that. So, that's what I've done. So, I'm going to focus on this. This Bani, this excerpt is taken from a Bani called Pattan Desavaiye. And to understand, you have to get understanding of who the Bhatts were, okay? So there were 17 Bhatts. These guys were poets. And they weren't just poets, they were very, very knowledgeable, very, very scholarly individuals. So they were born into a family where the Hindu texts, the Vedas, the Shastra, the Simritis, the Shastras, there's 6 Shastras, there's 27 Simritiyan, there's 6 Vedas, all these, sorry, 4 Ved, and there's 6 Simritiyan. So all these different granths, if you added they studied all these granths. And when they studied these granths in their family, in their heritage, they were born as Brahmins, they didn't get no Shanti. They didn't receive kind of any Shanti from, they didn't get no internal peace. You know, sometimes like you're looking for something and you read something and you think somebody's telling you that you're going to feel calm and peaceful from it, but you don't feel no peace until it works for you, until you make that connection yourself, right? So these guys wandered all over India to find kind of that peace, even though they had loads of knowledge and khajalna and understanding of the Hindu faith, the background of all the avatars. They knew everything, but they were struggling to find that internal santokh, that contentment. Somebody told them about Guru Arjan Dev. There was 1 year, you know when that anxiety gets to the highest level? So you've been wandering, and then you get to a crisis point. So in today's day and age, you might get to a mental health crisis, could be a deep, dark moment in your lives, or in our lives. And at that moment, there's nothing but Guru Sahib who can pull you out. There's nothing but Guru Sahib that can help. Nothing but your own personal connection with the Guru Sahib that can help at that moment. And that's if we're lucky. That's if we're lucky, because so many people are there who don't have that extra dimension to their lives, or someone in their life who might just turn up the right time and say, try this. And you think, okay, it clicks, right? So these Bhatts, for 1 year before they met Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, the 5th Guru, they were wandering and they were in a high form of anxiety. That last year for them was so difficult. Like, I'm not going to even enter how dark the thoughts might have been in these guys' heads. There were 17 of these guys. You know, like, how many? There might be more than that, just slightly more than that. And they all had that same yearning. How can you have a group of people who have the same exact feeling, the same depressed feeling, and everyone's feeling the same thing? How can that be? It's because they had some prani sanskar. I'm not going to go into it because it's a whole sakhi on its own, and that's not the context of the talk. But I'm just going to say to you that these guys were I'll mention it slightly so you understand. You know, like, have you heard of Brahma? Yeah, Brahma, the guy with the 3 heads, he comes in like Hindu mythology, right? He was supposed to be the person who created everything. So in a Banaya, like he would sustain it basically, right? He had the creative potency in his life. And he was the one who was given the Vedas. So you know the Hindu text, the Vedas? There's 4 of them. The Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Atharvan Ved and Jujur Ved. Yeah, 4 of them, okay? When you look at the chapters of those 4 scriptures, yeah, there's 4 parts of each. So altogether there were 16, right? And Brahma himself, who knew the Vedas because they were revealed to him, right? But what he did, he had for each of those parts, Brahma, an individual who had memorized the Vedas. Brahma did. And these are like Rishi Munis, these are kind of like saintly people who were just memorized everything, the Vedas, yeah? So there were 16 of them. And these Bhatts were the reincarnation of those guys. Does that make sense? Utthe ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਇੰਨੇ ਚਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲੀ, but they were wandering and wandering and wandering. The garden came clear at the time of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. Okay? And the 17th person was Brahma himself. So he was reincarnated into the form of the Bhatt who was senior to everyone at that time. So that's just context of that. So one of them, the guy's Bhatt's names is this guy here, Mathura, right? Mathura and the other 16 saints, when they came to Guru Arjan Dev Ji, when they saw the langar, they had prasada, they saw Darbar Sahib, they had come because somebody had told them that Guru Arjan Dev Ji is the one who could give you shanti. And when they met Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, after having prasada pani and everything, Maharaj gave them Gyan, all of them. As at that time, Guru Sahib were writing Gurbani, the first version of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, the Pehla Prakash. And they recited the Bani previous to the Patna Desvaye. This Bani comes at the end of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And the one before that is Siri Mukhgak Mahalla Panjwa. It's Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj writing Bani, which was the Upadesh or the message to these poets on how to save themselves, basically. When these guys heard that Upadesh or that instruction from the Guru, they got Shanti. And each one of them, this is the amazing thing, and it's the power of the Guru. All 17 of them became Brahmgyani straight away. Can you imagine that? Look how powerful our Guru is. 17 of them were wandering, disillusioned with life, not going in the darkness, wandering around. And every single one of those individuals, all 17 of them, if their work is to be included in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the praise was to be included in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, they must be realized people, right? They've got to be Brahmgyanis. You can't have the arm banda writing Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. We bow down to them. So they became realized at the moment that Maharaj gave them the instruction. Instruction given, and jira naal pandara si, uvi naal mil gaya. And then out of their pyar and love for Guru Sahib and their knowledge of history that they already accumulated, they then praised all the Guru Sahibs, from Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. Like as if they knew what they were about, just like that. They're met for the first time. But Guru Sahib has that ability, there's samrat. So I'm going to go through each of them. The praise that the Bhatts did was of Guru Sahibs and until Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And the Bani is called Savaiye Pattanke. And in relation to Guru Ramdas in particular and Guru Sahib in general, this verse can be found in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Has anyone done Santhya of Savaiye? You like to recite it? Have a go. Ek pankti pad lo.
Guru Samrat Gah Kariya Dhruv Bhagat Samart.
Yeah. Make it easy. There you go. Don't do the English accent though. Yeah.
मथुरा जन जान कही जिये साच सो और कछु न विचारन का हर नाम बोहित बड़ो कल मैं भाव सागर पार उतारन का.
Brilliant, excellent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to break the lines down for ourselves and then I'm going to give examples. Where Maharaj has given an example, we're going to go and look into those examples as to what Maharaj was actually trying to tell us. So, the meaning of the first pankti, Gur Samrat Gah Kariya Dhruv Bodh Samat Samaran ko. That little thing there is a pair chaha. If it's pair chaha, you kind of push the air down into your throat. It's like a guttural sound. So, Samaran ko, you pull your stomach in at the same time. Samaran ko. So, Maharaj says, Guru Samrat Gah Kariya Dhruv. The powerful Guru, my wisdom, so my Buddh, and you got to understand one thing, you know, like you have SOV and SVO in English, you got subject, object, and verb, right? But it's the other way around, you know, like in Punjabi, right? Aapa banda gaddi chalaunda hai, yeah? In English, it's the other way around, right? Drives car, right? So that's why the meanings are a little bit the other way around, okay? My wisdom, Buddh, which was wavering, has been grasped, Gah Kariya, by the all-powerful Guru, Gur Samrat. Samrat means powerful. And made still. That's what the Bhatts felt, right? So they're writing about their emotions, their feelings, right? Then he has replaced it with the highest thought or samat, which is called to remember Vaheguru. So samaran matlab hunda hai sambhal liya, kisi nu sambhal liya, jab tusi sambhal liya. You know, if you look after something, mata pita kehande inu sambhal ke rakhi, if it's a car, gaddi or whatever it is, yeah? Or if you're like me, losing my wallet all the time, you say inu sambhal ke rakhya kar, right? I get it from my wife and the parents, still, and they say, right? So what I'm trying to say is samaran inu sant ke rakho, look after it with consciousness, focus. And it basically means that look inside ourselves and sambhal the naam of Akal Purkh Vaheguru inside of ourselves. So the Sikh's mind has become strong and unwavering. But like who, Maharaj? You missed it either. But like who, Maharaj? Maharaj, give me an example. Dhruv. Anyone know who that might be referring to? Dhruv. Yeah, like Dhruv Bhagat. Who is Dhruv Bhagat? Anyone know? Never heard of him? You've heard of him? You don't want to spoil it, do you? Shall I go into it? All right. Dhruv Bhagat was around 5 years old. 5 salan da bachcha si. Okay? There's a little picture, if you can see, that's through there. He's got a stepbrother called Uttam. This is his stepmother. That is his father called Raja Uttanpad. Right? Raja Uttanpad had come back after winning the battle, and he had a mother who was very disregarded in the kingdom. Like, although she was a queen, she was regarded as a kind of servant. And the person who pushed basically the male onto her and made her feel like that was this lady here. Their names were Suriti and Suniti, the two women. And this person here, this lady, she had a son called Uttam, and she wanted her son to be the rightful heir, although he was younger than Bhagat Dhruv. Bhagat Dhruv was the rightful heir. And Bhagat Dhruv, as a child, very innocent, all he wanted was to sit in his father's laps. And Bhai Gurdas Ji, who was the first scholar of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, he was the first scribe of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, sorry. He writes, "Dhruv hasda kar aaya, kar pyar puchhad lita." So his father picked him up. Jada pyar karte hain bacche nu. We wanted to sit on him. Kida put how he, after seen him after such a long time, he sat him on his lap. And what happened? Baho pakkad utha liya, man vich ros matrai kita. The stepmom, she was angry when she saw Dhruv do that, because she wanted her son to receive everything first. And it sounds very primal, but these jealousies and envious kind of things do exist in real life. We know that, right? And baho pakkad utha liya, man vich ros matrai kita. So the matrai, the stepmother, she was angry at the fact that Dhruv had sat in the father's laps, and she grabs Bhagat Dhruv Ji. Before she did anything, before she pushed him off, with her right hand, she slapped him across the face on one cheek. With the left hand, she smacked him on the other cheek and said, "Get out of here," and chucked him to the floor basically. Dodhal ka maa puche, tu savani hai ke sarita. He then goes to his mother, and he's really stressed out, he's distressed, he's crying, and he comes to his mother and he says, "Mom, are you a queen or are you a maid? Why is it that we have been treated like this?" Dodharta means that he was really distressed, he's crying. He goes, "Why are we treated like this? We're like we're the rightful heirs to this throne. Why are we being treated like slaves? What's going on?" Sabani ha janamdi naam na bhakti karam dridita. Now, his mother replies back to Dhruv and he says, "Savani ha janamdi, I am a queen from Janam. However, namna bhakti karam dridita. Because of our lack of kamai and simran, this is the reason why we're in this state. This is the reason why we're suffering. This is the reason why we've been married into a family. He's got another wife, he's got another kid. She happens to be very envious, jealous, and she wants her son to be number one. And I can't do anything about it. And the only reason is Maharaj says in Bani, Dada dos na dehu kisi hi, dos karma apanya. It's not a fail-safe, like, it's easy to just say if something's happened to us, or something has made us feel distressed, or we've, felt down about something in our life, or our circumstances, we might be born into circumstances in our family that are stressful, they might not be convenient for us, those circumstances, yeah? We can't just blame everyone else. Let's stop blaming everyone else. Let's live in the present. Living in the present, sambhal the bani, sambhal the naam, and let the naam destroy any karma. Okay? Every single individual has to go through karma. They have to go through it. The only way to avert karma is through doing seva and doing more bani. Your nitnem, 7 baniya, destroys karma, thousands of karma. And these karmas are possibly ones, the seeds that we don't even know about are going to sprout in the future. And Maharaj just gets them erased just through your nitnem, just by doing the satbaniya. So there's things that we don't even know about that Guru Sahib has already sorted out for us. We don't know, right? When you do Simran and Bhajan and Bandagi, then you receive good circumstances. The more Bhajan and Bandagi you do, as we'll see in this example, Maharaj gets pleased with you. Sometimes, if you talk to very spiritual people, they say you have to go for the karma, there's no way to erase it. They say that. But when Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj gets happy, and we're going to see examples of that today, they can decide to just erase it just like that or replace it with something. A little bit of a trip, a little bit of a cut, a little bit of a sharp thing in your foot when you're walking outside barefoot. Do you know what I mean? Little things like that will start taking your karma away. Sometimes it could be you bang into someone in Sandat, and you might have your shoulder might ache a little bit, unexplained aches and pains, right? And they're happening because of the camp, or when you're in Sangat or you're doing more Simran than you're supposed to, there are the Shanya that Maharaj is sorting things out for you. Don't worry. Move forward, yeah?
सावाणी यहाँ जन्म दी नाम ना भक्ति कर्म दृढ़ीता किस उद्यम ते राज मिल फिर.
Then he says, Mata, then what can I do to get my Raj back? Because I'm the person who's supposed to be the king. I'm first. The kid is 5 years old, right? Yes, Uddamate, what motivation, what do I need to do? Te Rajmil, that I get the rule. Satguru te sab hovanamita. And if someone's against me, without me doing anything about it, if somebody's got an issue with me, there's some people like that, right? You come across individuals in your life who just sareo for no reason, just by seeing your booty, just by seeing us, innit? They get so stressed out by your look, and you don't understand. And similarly, you have the other opposite. You have people who you've never met before, but they give you so much blame, and you don't know why they're giving you so much blame, but there is a link. There's always a link, right? But Bhaktruji is saying, Satguru te sab hovan mita. How can those enemies turn to friends? 5 years old. He was something special, and he's come for a certain reason. And what happens? Paramesar aradhiya jiddu huya patet panita. And then she replied back, she says, Tu Parameshwar nu yaad kar, Simran kar. And jiddu huya patet panita. Because like if a leaf falls up from a tree, patta jada hunda falls from its roots, turns a different color, doesn't it? Right? But imagine that leaf got put back up and re-established to the roots, right? It will find its color again. Even if you get a dead leaf, sometimes you have these TikToks and stuff of guys who've got plants and they get one seed, sara kuch khatam ho gaya, and they pull out the pumpkin seeds or something, put it in a tissue, and then the next minute there's a root coming out of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they reinvigorate, don't they? Right? So similarly, some things that have fallen from its root can reinvigorate. They can be rejoined. And patit panita means that exactly. Those things that are fallen from their root, if we re-establish the connection, then Maharaj does kirpa, and that thing can be resolved. Okay. Jiddu huya patit panita. That's her reply to him. And then bahar talya karantam. It said at that moment he left it at that, but he couldn't sleep. His thoughts were, okay, I need to go and do Simran. I need to do Jap Tap. I need to find a place. And it said at night while his mother was speaking, they say, I'm not going to go into it too much, but they say there's 2.5 mothers considered, like 2 wholes and a half, if you want to put it, like 2 perfect mothers basically, and a 0.5 mother as well, in history. Like one of those mothers was Bhaktruji's mother, because she gave him, I don't know if you've heard the story, when she wanted him to remember God, she'd put like a sweet underneath his mat, and then he'd wake up and look and he'd say, I haven't get rewarded for it. And every time they should be rewarding him, like operant conditioning, like giving him like classical conditioning, isn't it? And like every time she gives the reward, one day she forgot, he did the Simran and Vaheguru put the mitha there instead. And then that mitha that he had that day, it was more sweeter than anything else. And he was like, he didn't even look to it. He came to his mother, said, Mom, that sweet that you put there today, it was something else. And she goes, I didn't even put anything there, I forgot. But she was considered to be a whole mother because she encouraged her child to do bhajan and nothing but bhajan. After 12 years of him being in the jungle, he came back. He goes, she sent him back. She goes, you ain't the complete finished article yet. He did 36 years of jap tap simran bhajan, Bhakt Fariji, till he became a great saint himself, right? And his mother is considered to be the highest of the high. There was another BB, I'm not going to go into that one. But 2.5, the 0.5 mother was Dhruv's mother. She wasn't considered to be the whole whack because she didn't want her son to be, she was too attached to him. Although she gave the right advice, she was like, when he said he wants to do bhajan and he wants to go to the jungles and sit there and just do simran, she goes, nahi tu chota je. She would like cut. So what happened, he waited until she go to sleep. She went to sleep, he did 3 pakarma at night and left. 5 years old. And he went first, they say the first night he spent in his father's orchard, which was just outside the kingdom. And he sat there at night, middle of the night, doing bhajan. He met some saints who were just sadhus, they give him blessings. And then he thought, I've just spent one night just doing bhajan and people are coming to me giving vadiyai. I must be doing something right. Yeah? So he thinks, I'm going to go further. He goes into the jungles this time. He leaves his father's kingdom. 5 years old, middle of the night. Okay? No SOS calls, no location, finding, nothing. It's just pure Nidarta, 5 years old. And he goes into the jungles and on the way, obviously Parmeshwar's watching everything. They sent Narad Muni, who was like considered to be an incarnation of praise, of Kirtan basically, yeah? And he comes and he sees and he says, where are you going? He goes, I'm going to sit in the jungle. And he said, well, there's beasts in the jungle, there's lions in the jungle. He's got a smile on his face when he does it, because that was his approach to life generally. But like, he's testing the child. He goes, this beast there, there's sap there, tu ki karna jangla adhi raat nu, you're a little kid. And he goes, I don't care. He goes, I want to remember Vaheguru, and I know that if I do remember him, I don't feel scared. Like, I feel good internally. And then Naradji says, well, I'll give you the mantra to recite. And he gave him the Om Bhagavate, or Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudeva, yeah, that mantra. And Bhakt Prahlad took that mantra and he started reciting it, okay, at that time. The first night he said, look, it says here, he spent in an orchard belonging to some saints. The next day he got the mantra, but Dhruv was not scared. When he saw how determined he was, he gave him a mantra to recite. And then, not only that, after just a few days, his father finds out that his son's disappeared and he's doing bhajan. And he sends a message through someone, because Narad goes to see the king basically, and says, what are you playing at? Your son's going in the middle of the night, safeguarding, what's going on? No safeguarding at that time, mate. And what happened was, he goes, you need to bring your son back. And he goes, why did he go to the jungle for? Because he's the rightful heir, and you're too stuck in more an attachment with your stepwife, your other wife, and you're not realizing what the situation is, because we forget that the most hardcorest vikar, the hardcorest thief, not lust, not anger, not greed, not ego, is more. More is probably the most invisible and the most hardest thing to differentiate, because you get confused. Is it love or is it attachment? And because sometimes out of that attachment, because out of that sometimes. And that's where you need to know how to live life and who to go to and when to take a step back and allow someone to prosper and understand no mistakes sometimes. Anyway, so his father said, I'll give him half the kingdom. So just after a few days of him doing Simran, he got half the kingdom. And then when Bhakt Dhruv is asked, come home, he says, no way. He goes, I've been getting more anand here, this is something else. He goes, forget the worldly, because the thought that he had, if we went and sat in the jungle now, it would probably take us longer to get to that state of mind, because we've still got ichama and we're not childlike maybe. When a child is a kora kagas, they don't know anything. Like ota bilkul blank paper hunda hai. Blank paper is just bhajan bandgi, starts doing simran in a samadhi. they're going to get much further, and their male is going to get eradicated very quickly. Their dirt in their mind is going to go just like that, finished. So he's not only got rid of his dirt within a few days, he's been given half the kingdom. He's saying, no, wait, I'm getting more Nand here, I'm not going back. And he carried on, did not stop. And then the king found out, he went himself to bring his son back. He goes, no, dad, that time's gone. I'm going to sit here and do bhajan. He told his father to go back. The itcha, the desire for the rule, disappeared because the spiritual rule has got so much more in it than just the worldly. So he refused to stop, and then it got to the point where, okay, now the people there, the devate, you know, the people who are given duties by Vaheguru to do certain tasks, like tu hawa chala, tu gaddi chala, tu aaka, tu bre chala, you know, you make vegetation grow, you know, all these kind of spiritual beings, they're called devate, right? They got scared, thinking this guy's a kid, he's 5 years old, he's going to beat us to our thrones, because they all got individual little kingdoms, these devate, right? So they got scared, thinking this 5-year-old kid is going to come and basically take our rule away from us. So what they did, they started testing him. Somebody sent fire, they put the whole jungle on fire. He didn't even flinch. Imagine the heat from a bushfire. He didn't, wind was going, tufan, he didn't open his eyes. Then a 5-year-old kid, they sent women, they sent girls to dance in front of him. He didn't open his eyes. His determination at that time was sky high, like his resilience and determination to carry on doing what he did. And then when they say that, because in that mantra, it was, in the Hindu faith, they say that Vishnu was the kind of the senior person out of Brahma and Shiva, out of the 3 deities, yeah? So Vishnu came and stood in front of me, who he was focusing on. That was the name he was reciting at that time. And when Vishnu came, he's standing in front of him, and he doesn't open his eyes through still focus. So the person he's focusing, like if you are saying dad, 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 and your dad suddenly appears in front of you, after so many years of you saying dad, daddy, mil gaya samne, he's standing in front of him, I'm here now, you've been calling me for so long, right? No, because the anand and the bliss was so great. And then what they had to do, basically, they had to just take away the prakash and the anand that he was feeling in his head, in his mind and his body. They took it away momentarily. Then he opened his eyes, because obviously he was attached to it. If he gets sustenance from something for so long, he opened his eyes and he sees Vishnu in front of him, bows to him, does praise of Vishnu, and then basically they gave him the kingdom, an immortal kingdom of his own. So you know, like the pole star, North Pole star, onu Dhruv Tara kehande in Punjabi, Dhruv Tara, and that's supposed to be his kingdom in a spiritual way. Later on, and you can maybe research it in your time, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj went to visit him as well, spiritually. You can find that on I can give you the links to find out what the story was behind that. But what we're focusing on was the determination. Because look, Gahakar Yatro, Guru, the powerful Guru, has grasped me and given us the ability of Dhruv. So look at how beneficial Guru Sahib are in our lives and how powerful they are, that they can make that determination come into their gursiks. It comes into, and then you could be cut from limb to limb, and it's 7 p.m. in the morning, your tongue could be cut and you're bleeding, and like you could have like, you know, this happened in 1984 with Sheet Singhs, and you ask the time, what time you put, you know, thank you, and the person says, they start doing red outside of the part. That's the effect, because you're not affected, that's the power that Guru vests into his gursiks. So, it has been given determination and resilience, the kind displayed by Dhruv Bhagat. That's how wisdom has become so strong as a result. And that's what Guru Sahib can do for us. So, Is Dharma tuja. We're going to talk about the mean on the second line. Then, Pun means then, or now. Dharma tuja perant sada. Now the flag of righteousness flows freely. Ag punja tarang nivaran ko. And all the paths that we've done, you know, like you're standing on a beach here, and the water's coming, and as it comes, it washes the sand away from your feet, takes the male away from you. In a similar way, Guru Sahib's Shabd, or his word, comes, when we recite it, it removes the male within us, takes the path away, washes it away. To erase all my sins and erase all my egocentric thoughts, the Taran Tuja, or in other words, the Nishan Sahib, is the embodiment of the Satguru, and it flies freely forever. But what I'm going to do, is to talk about dharma quickly. Very, very quickly. What do you think dharma is made up of? The word faith, what is it made up of? Anyone? There, compassion. Anything else? I'm glad you said there, compassion, because that's what I wanted to focus on. But there's 10 of them. Khima, ahimsa, daya, mrid, satvachan, tapadan, seal, soch, trishna, bina, dharam, ling, das, jan. This is written by Pandit Gulab Singh, Giani Bishan Singh ji, in a book called Saratagli. And it's usually taught to Singhs after they've done Sankhya. It's a small book. Has anyone done Saratagli here? The 10 bits are forgiveness, unnecessary violence towards other living forms, because obviously Khalsa is Deg Datani as well, right? We don't believe in ahimsa totally. We believe in taking our right back or protecting others, yeah? But this is the kind of Jain type thought, you know, like where it's moving away from the Jainism thought of just, you know, koi jeev jantu nahi marna. It's not to that level. Compassion, sweet speech, honoring your word. So that's a big part. You know, if you say something from your mouth, honor it or don't say it. That's part of, and it's a part of, it's known, if you're known to be a kacha banda or a kacha person, you can tell from a person's words. If a person's words don't stand up, then you know that they're not doing Simran Bhajan Bandagi, it's just false. Honoring your word is important. Meditation and penance through seva. So we have japa, which is meditation, and tap, which is seva, penance. We don't go stand on one leg and, you know, like do kind of like strict things on our body. We don't do that. Our penance is Guru di seva or Sangha di seva. Charity, inner peace, which is what the Bhatts were looking for. Cleanliness and freedom from desire, materialistic thoughts basically. These are the 10 limbs of Dharma, what makes faith. But faith is the son of compassion. Tal Taram Daya Ka Poot comes in Japji Sahib. So Daya is the first originating quality. So the Guru Sahibs are very compassionate. Very, very compassionate. What do you think puja means? We already covered that, so we need to say that again. It means it's insignia of faith. How was Guru Nanak Dev Ji a Taram Tuja? How were they a Nishan Sahib? How did they embody compassion? The little child on the way to Kabul, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and Pai Mardana Ji walk in. They go past the field and Pai Mardana Ji looks because he's not eaten for some days, and basically the plants of cholle, chickpeas. And he thinks to himself, we can just get some chickpeas, boil, you know, like maybe warm them up somehow with fire. We could do with that. He could really do with that snack. So he does beg to Maharaj. He goes, Maharaj, like I'm really hungry and I like the look of those cholle, like I really want to have some. But Maharaj said, Koina, if Maharaj has wished it and our names are on those chickpeas, then we'll get them. And what happened? There was a little child watching Maharaj from far. The Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and Bhai Madana. He sees them having a conversation. He quickly goes, because it was his fields, he gets the chickpeas, goes home, makes them, boils them up, whatever, brings them back for Maharaj out of love. He's only a little child. He comes to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj smiling. He says, Tu yaad kita te ape hi aa gaya. They've come here on bad shakke. And he, out of love, fed those cholle to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and Bhai Mardana Ji. Maharaj was so pleased, was so happy. As soon as he saw him, so khush ke de kitni paavna seva kiti. He went out of his way to feed that gursikh, like that extra bit ingredient, isn't it? That extra kind of quality in someone. Somebody came to do a part at our house, or if you see a foreign gursikh come from another country, how many party Singhs come to our house? We don't give them that satkar, that respect. How many times have you gone to Gurdwara to do an ardas and the Granthi Singh does an ardas for us, and we've never even actually invited that person to our house and say Prashada Shakla or give him a little bit of credit? We don't think of it like that. But that's when the next thing comes, because ek khana jada ek pahunchta hai Mara Sahib Ji. The Gursikh might eat and may feel satiated, but the moment he does that ardas ke inna pyar nal shikaya Maharaj, right? Maharaj gets pleased and he gives the reward that as if he's had the food. Always remember that. So what happens is Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, they are so happy and they're thinking, okay, I'm going to give him something. And this is the greatness of Maharaj and the compassion that Maharaj showed. This is why they are the Nishan Sahib of faith. What they do, they had a little chadar, the kid had bought a little chadar as well for Maharaj to sit on. And Maharaj goes, "Tusi baithe the, with no pacha banane." Look at the words Maharaj says. He goes, "You sit here, we're going to make you into a king." And that's all. They sat him down, and Maharaj said, "Chaliye appa." They went. And the kid's sitting there thinking, what was that all about? As they're walking over, Bhai Mardanaji says, like, he's thinking, what's going on here? Like, why did Maharaj say that? But he knows there was some raz in it, because if you've spent all your time with Maharaj, there's a reason why they've said that. This story was being told to Guru Angad Dev Ji by Bhai Balaji, who was a companion of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And Guru Angad Dev Ji Maharaj asked, "So what happened next then? Can you tell what happened next?" And he said, "Yeah, so what happened? That day, there was a little a village, a kingdom, small kingdom nearby. It had 4 darwaje to it, 4 doors to it. And the king of that place passed away. He had no son, he had no child, he had no heir to the throne. And the seniors all got together. They said, well, we're screwed over now. Like, the dynasty should, and it was honesty there as well, innit? Nowadays, one of them would have took over himself, right? And thought, man, Raj karna, don't worry about him. But no, they had wisdom amongst them. The Siane got together and said, we need to give it to someone, but how are we going to decide who's the king of this place? And they come up with a plan. They said, look at the chances, probability. 25% probability that somebody will walk through that door, right? Aapa 3 darwaje closed down, we'll keep one open. Whoever walks, the first person who walks in, by the end of the night or by the end of the morning, will become the king. That's what they decided. Uthe Maharaj ne bachan already kar ditta first, before happening, that he's going to be a king, right? This kid goes home, he just, as you go home, went home, he walks through that door, that darwaja, the villagers grip hold of him, Raja Banata, they gave him a throne and said, you're the king. This is how Guru Sahib worked. And what did they give? What did he do? Shole sikai. He only gave shole to Maharaj. 4 chickpeas and mitain the hunger of Bhai Mardana ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji gives a throne to this kid. Just think about that. What Maharaj is ready to give to us. They say that, when we do the ardas, when we're standing in ardas, yeah? And we mention the Panj Pyare Char Sahibzade, and we mention the Panja Takht, we mention the Panj Takhts as well, right? It said that Guru Sahib and all these things that are mentioned metaphorically, they stand on their toes ready to give to us. They're that eager to give to us. And we elongate the ardas, they're standing there waiting. We'll give it you. How amazing that concept is. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj is the embodiment of faith. The Nishan Sahib flew at Sri Katha Sahib, the city that they created. Some people call Sikh faith Nirmal or Advait means beyond duality. And Sikh, Khalsa Panth as well, they all mean the same thing. If you look at the meanings, they're all similar meaning. So the insignia of faith was established. The Dharam Tuja, the Nishan Sahib was established. At that time, the Nishan Sahib colour was white. So at the time, at Sri Katha Sahib, chitta rang hunda si. And during this period, but in relation to the Sakhi of Babur, which I want to explain, because it's such a big Sakhi, these were, in Sachkhand, in the realm of truth where Vaheguru sits, the Nishan Sahibs were also seen as Kesari. Kesari rang is like that. This colour, it happens to be here. Papers volunteering today. Right. Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave royalty to people who served. Bhai Taru Singh Ji, jinhone khopri lohai si, yeah? People came to save him whilst he was arrested before his shahidi. And they came from a village. And they said, Bhai Taru Singh Ji, you're a Brahmgyani saint. We want to preserve you, look after you. We can take you out of this place. He said, no. Mana kar deta. He goes, I'm going to give shahidi. And I'm going to give shahidi because the roots of the Mughals have already been uprooted by Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And I want to be a part of that process. I want to be a part of that process of uprooting the Mughal roots. And they were like, what are you talking about? Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, we don't understand. And then Bhai Taru Singh Ji narrated this Sakhi to the Sikhs at that time. And what he said is an amazing Sakhi. It proper makes you feel like, what the hell, man? Like, we're not seeing Guru Nanak Dev Ji or Guru Granth Sahib Ji are we supposed to be seeing. So you might remember that Guru Nanak Dev Ji worked in a shop when he was younger, and when they just gave free food out to everyone. The guy who owned that was a guy called Daulat Khan. Daulat Khan had no children, had 2 wives, no children. Both wives came to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Maharaj blessed them, and they both had 2 sons each. 4 sons they had. They were all devotees of Guru Sahib's, and they became like ministers at that time. So they became like, the emperor at that time was a guy called Sikandar Lodi, and they became ministers in his establishment. Sikandar Lodi died, who was the emperor at that time, and his son, who was a bit pathetic, his name was Ibrahim Lodi, he took over. He was too young and he didn't know anything about administration, about, allies and, that treaties, international treaties, didn't know anything about it. Instead, what he did, he got his mates into it. He got his friends into governors, and he got rid of all the governors who were Siane, who knew what they were doing, right? So obviously the 4 sons, the Nawabs, they were wise and they knew what was going on. They tried to advise Ibrahim Lodi, and what he did, when anyone tried to advise him that you should be keeping the elder people in administration because the ruling ain't gonna last long, he got them killed. So 3 of the brothers got killed amongst all the other governors as well. There was only 1 left. And before he died, the 4th one wrote back to his father, Daulat Khan. These guys were Pathans, the Muslims. They were the same as Ibrahim Lodi, they were Pathans as well, right? And he said, these Pathans, our own ilk basically, are destroying this nation, and we need to do something about it. Can you go to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and do a beinti? I think, this is the son saying to Daulat Khan, you should call the Mughals to India. Look at this. The Mughals, the people who got the Sahibzada Shaheed basically, they're getting called to India by the devotees of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Think carefully what's going on. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, they said, before you do that, and if it's a good idea, go to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and get agya first, get permission first. So the son's writing to the dad, Daulat Khan then goes. He's so affected, he wears a dastar, black chola, black dastar, because he's mourning the death of his sons. He finds out that his 4th son who wrote the letter is dead as well, through a messenger. And he's full of like anger against the Ibrahim Lodi, his own Pathan brothers. And he goes to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Maharaj sees him coming. Maharaj says, Ki gale, why are you dressed like this? What's his matha takes to Maharaj. He says, Maharaj, I want Babur to come. I want the Mughals to come to this country. I've had enough of these people. But before he said that, he goes, why don't you become the ruler of this country? To Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Maharaj stayed quiet. Maharaj then laughed. He goes, main ki karna hai is cheez na. He goes, I'm not going to be bad, but when Maharaj has to sometimes state who they are, and they have to do it in a way, and I'm sure they did it in a way that he's understood conducively without sounding egotistical. Maharaj said, Apa Paashahi den wale hain. We're the person who make emperors. If you want to be, I'll make you an emperor. He goes, Maharaj mere kol meri vasti gal nahi hegi. Then he goes, if you don't want to do it, what should we do? I think I want Babur to come from Afghanistan, because obviously they knew they had allies already. Babur had already invaded India twice before. He was known, and they already had links there. So what happens is Daulat Khan is told by Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Maharaj went quiet for ages, and he said, if you really want, and it's your itcha, your desire, because obviously he's going to fulfill the desires of his followers, yeah? It's your desire that you want the Mughals to come into India. That's fine. You can tell him, but ek cheez yaad rakhi, right? We're going to take it back from him. This is the words Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj said at that time, that we will take that Raj back from them if they don't know how to do it properly. Those Pathans, and we're just fulfilling your desire. Look at Maharaj looked obviously at everything in the future, what's going to happen, and they also knew that the Khalsa Panth was going to be created at some point. So they knew that this was all meant to happen. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj says to him that one thing I'm going to say to you is, before he comes here, tell him to come to me and we will see him first. And when he comes. So he goes. Daulat Khan travels to Kabul. Before he gets to Kabul, as it happens, because Vaheguru is the creator, right? He had a prime minister, a vizier, who knew about Guru Nanak Dev Ji's vadiyai from people in India. And he was already telling Babur that there's this person called Guru Nanak Dev Ji who's amazing, and you should visit him, because Babur had like peers with him, like Muslim saints with him, who were very full of miracles and stuff like that. They had like powers. He'd keep them with him. He had about 4 or 5 of them with him at all times. And he always was Javan. He was always motivated to kind of have spiritual people around him. So he was getting told this information by the Wazir. And then Daulat Khan arrives. Daulat Khan comes. At first they said they couldn't find him. And then he did ardas to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj in Kabul. I can't get access to Ibrahim Lodi. And then suddenly doors opened up for him and he went. And then what happens? When he gets to Ibrahim, he tells everything to Babur. He explains what's happening. And Babur explains that you want me to come to rule India? That's fine. Because Daulat Khan told him everything, because he knew everything. He told him exactly how many soldiers they had. He told him how much arsenal they had. He told him A to Z about who the weak generals were. He told him everything. So Daulat Khan did to Babur. And Babur said, that's fine. Babur said, that's fine. I understand that. But this Guru Nanak Dev Ji person, do I have to go to see him? And they said, Daulat Khan said, he's the one who sent me here. And just as the Wazir was telling Babur about the greatness of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, it was at that time Daulat Khan walked in. So he said, the person you're talking about, I've been sent by him. I've just been sent, this is the person that who sent me here. He wants to see you. So when you come and you decide to come, you should come. And that's where he got Hankari, Babur. Turns around and he goes, I'm a follower of Muhammad. If I want something, I can ask Muhammad. I'll get it from Prophet Muhammad. Why would I want to go ask from a Hindu people? Why is he a miracle person? Why do I need to ask him? And actually, that person that you say, he got a bit Hankari, because he's heard that it's an opportunity for me to take over, right? He's thinking, I can get ruled just like that. He'll be on his knees. These are the words he said. He'll be on his knees. He'll run away when he sees my forces. All these things he's saying. But at the same time, he's got a feeling that he wants to meet Maharaj as well. Because that's how it works. Sometimes you have people, individuals who might have a little bit of good in them, and they have got itcha, but the background noise, the white noise takes over. And that white noise sometimes could be our own thoughts, right? So what happens? Babur goes, and at that time, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj recite Bani. They were at Ahmedabad, and they recite 4 shabds, 3 in Rag Asa, 1 in Talang Rag, and they predict the coming of the Mughals and what they're going to do to the country. And at that same time, Babur comes with the men, everyone budges, and the only person who didn't budge was Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. They were sitting on has anyone been to Pakistan? See the Gurdwara there? There's a Gurdwara there called Rodi Sahib Gurdwara, and it's Rodi, basically pebbles. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was sitting on pebbles with stakes put upright in them. They were sitting on top of it doing bhajan, like doing simran, like in their own anand, right? And what happens was Babur and his forces and everyone come. And as soon as he comes, he sees Maharaj, first he matha takes straight away, because the aura of Maharaj just took over a bit. But then Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj said, tu matha tekda si, tu to kenda si main bhaj jana. You said that I'll be on my knees. The person on his knees at the moment is you. He said, you said that there's no mobile phones, no WhatsApp at that time. Maharaj knew everything. Every little thing he said, Babur, Maharaj said it back to him at that point. So he's got to the point now, he's scared. He's thinking, he's a true saint, this person. And this is not a person, either he's Vaheguru, he's Allah Rup himself, or he's a messenger of God. This is what he's thinking. But then he's been pulled by the thought that I've still got Prophet Muhammad. And what happens, he says, I want the Raj of India. This is what he says to Maharaj. I want the Raj of India, but when I want the Raj, I can just ask my Prophet, why would I need to ask you? And Maharaj says, Chal tu lela fir, go and ask Muhammad yourself then. Look at the words, Maharaj says, tu aape puch la ke. And obviously, I'm not going to say the words, but pichon nikal gaya sara kuch, because he hasn't got the ability to. He hasn't got the ability to meet with a spiritual person like that. He asks his 4 powerful peers as well who were with him. They were like, don't ask us, mate. This is more tough. We don't know anything here. We can't deal with this. And then he goes, Maharaj, how am I supposed to meet? Maharaj is holding a soti, a stick at that time. And Maharaj goes, danda leja, right? When you sit down to remember Allah, right, whoever, Satnam Sri Vaheguru kahin pehla. Sit down, make sure you're touching the stick when you sit down, when you do it. And then you'll see, you'll spend Maharaj said to him, take your time there, like enjoy it. Go and visit Muhammad ji. Go and see him and talk to him. But to Maharaj, it's quite amazing when Maharaj says to him, he says, "Utte 4 ਘੜੀ ਤੂੰ ਬੈਠੀ ਰਹੀ, 4 ਘੜੀ is like 2 hours. ਤੂੰ 2 ਘੰਟੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੀ, ਖੁੱਲ ਕੇ time ਲਾਈ. See Muhammad and ask him to give you the rule of Punjab and India." So obviously he takes a stick, he's obviously shaken because Maharaj has given him a stick. He's thinking, what the hell? I'm not going to go into some of the other stuff because we're running out of time. What happens? Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, with their instructions, he goes in the morning, Shan Karda Joviya, he sees a stick, he sits next to the stick, so he's touching him, and he says, Satnam Sri Vaheguru. In an instant, he's standing in front of Sachkhand. In an instant. And like, he's amazed. Then Maharaj has said to him that when you come to the doors, they'll be locked. You haven't got access to them. But when you say Satnam Vaheguru again, they'll open. So he remembered the bhajan again. He said, Satnam Sri Vaheguru, the doors open. He sees Gursikhs walking around, koi Katha karda, koi Kirtan karda, there's Kirtan going on, there's like saints sitting there doing bhajan bandagi. There's like, he's amazed and he's walking around and he can't believe it. He's like, what's going on here? And he sees nishans. He sees a white nishan sahib. He sees a kesari nishan sahib. He sees a blue nishan sahib. And he sees like, he's taken aback by it. Can't believe it. Remember, Bhai Talo Singh, he's telling the Sikhs this story. Imagine how they're feeling at that moment. And then he's looking around and he goes, this is amazing. He spent some time there and he thinks, Muhammad, where's Muhammad? He asked someone, where's Muhammad? He goes, he's not in this place. They've got another place. You need to go to that place. And then he's told the direction, and in Itihas, I'm going to say it how it is presented. This is what it was like a greyish colour, right? And there was a masjid, there was a mosque, and inside he saw Prophet Muhammad doing like bowing and doing his prayers and stuff. So he goes in, and when he goes in, he sees that Prophet Muhammad's there, and then there's 4 caliphates, there's 4 guys after him, and there's 1,000 peers, like Muslim saints, all standing behind Prophet Muhammad praying together. So he gets the danda of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he's got it in his hand, and he's basically coming and stands right at the back of everyone. Obviously, when he stands at the back of everyone, they all open their eyes and they say, who are you? And he explains that I'm Babur, I've come to get the Raj of India. And he goes, how you got here? How did you get here? And he said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji's stick, they gave me the stick. And then he goes, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj gave you the stick to come here? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, okay. He goes, but the Raj of India, I can't give you that. Prophet Muhammad said to him, Muhammad Sahib said to him, I can't give you that. The duty of giving Raj and kingdoms only belongs to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Sabte Vadda, Satguru Nanak, Jin Kal Rakhi Meri. Sabte Vadda. What does that mean? It means the greatest of all. Sabte Vadda, sab to senior banda, sab to senior person. And then obviously he's got his message, because he's thinking I could have got it from Prophet Muhammad. He spends a bit more time there and he gets sent back. He comes back and he's sitting in Samadhi, and he obviously all the hankar, that little bit of hankar he had, all gone. Then he comes to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Maharaj Ji, Sanu Raj Baksho, Minu Maaf Kar Deo. I don't know who you are, but for me now I understand that you are Allah themselves. You are God Himself. So tusi kirpa karo. Maharaj then said to him, Jat tak you do justice and you rule justly, your rule will remain. But the moment your emperors mess up, they'll be finished, they'll go. As soon as they do a galti, they'll be gone, basically. And then he said, a time may come that you do the biggest galti of all, and at that time, the Khalsa Panth will come, and it will take your place. That's what Maharaj said at that time to this Babur at that time. He gave him the rule of India. So, the Nishan Sahib, it says there, Set so Ganga Neer Sam, Aao Batar Sam Pehkal, Kesri Pat ko Sang Hila, Bijli Jaise Khayal. So, what he saw was the Nishan Sahibs flowing freely in Sachkhand. The Kesari Rang would say it was flowing as if like electricity, they were like charged with electricity almost. That's how feeling that he saw. They were moving freely. Guru Angad Dev Ji Maharaj gave us the Gurmukhi Akhar. They were given by Guru Nanak Dev Ji, but the format that we see in today, was given by Guru Angad Dev Ji. They taught children, they taught the Sikhs. They also accumulated the story of Guru Nanak Dev Ji by Balaji. So they gave us the first historical compositions called the Bala Janmasakti, and inspired us to learn Gurmukhi from Sri Khadur Sahib. They are also the Nishan Sahib in this way. Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj is the Nishan Sahib. They started the concept of Langar and Pangat. Langar sitting in the Pangat and having prasada. Even if the king of India came straight first, he was told to, before darshan of Guru Amar Das Ji, you have to go and have Langar first, where everyone is equal, whether you're the emperor, whether you're a pauper, whether you're a prince or pauper, you're sitting in the same place. They built Sri Govindwal Sahib with 84 steps and gave liberations to the Sikhs. When Akbar came, at that time, he was a descendant of Babur. And Akbar was he was quite Shardavan, because Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj words helped him overcome a battle. And he bought gifts for Guru Amar Das Ji. The gift that he bought for Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj included land, which included Sri Darbar Sahib, Amritsar Sahib. That pata was given at that time as a gift to Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj. Maharaj's words were, Nanak aur paatshahiyaan puriya, naam ratte paatshah. Like emperors of this world of Ur, they're rubbish in the eyes of Vaheguru, or in the eyes of those people who recite the name of God. They are the true emperors. He's talking about Gursikhs like yourselves who they start reciting Bani Simran, you're considered to be Paatsahi Paatsaho. You're considered to be the emperor of all emperors. Guru Amar Das Ji taught us equality, compassion, and how spirituality should never bow to the materialistic. And that theme is quite concurrent in Guru Sahib's time. Sri Harmandir Sahib, with 4 doors of Sri Harmandir Sahib, north, south, east, west, and then inside as well, north, south, east, west, where the red dot is, there's a Nishan Sahib of called Har Ki Pauri. That place says for Har Ki Pauri, the step of God himself. And there's 2 Nishan Sahibs here, both Kesari Rang. They are the Kesari Rang, same Rang of Sri Sachkhand, of there. So there, Sachkhand here and there, it's the same up there. So, if you look carefully at the sea, well, you can't really see here, but these entrances, this one here, and on the side here as well, the steps going downwards. This Harmandir Sahib was built at a lower trajectory than the rest of the city, because when the Sikhs asked Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, why are we building it? Why are we building it lower? And they said that because when the branches on the tree are laden with fruit, the heaviest branches come low, don't they? So that people can take fruit. That's why Maharaj is so benevolent in all ways that they are the embodiment of the Nishan Sahib, you think about it. They're the embodiment of compassion and regard and consideration for others. So Guru Ram Das Ji, the 4th Guru, they built the Sarovar. At that time, people wouldn't bathe. This is the only way people would get Isnan. Do you know what I mean? It's very difficult, or in the rivers. They built Sarovars. It was a paradakam to build Sarovars. And the Nishan Sahib flew beside the Amrit Sarovar. Caste, prejudice, discrimination put aside, everyone bathing together. Otherwise, where would it happen? How would it happen? I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj created Sri Tarantaran Sahib, cured leprosy. Sri Harmandir Sahib, 24-hour Bani going around, this medicine all the time. Guru Arjan Dev Ji wrote the first form of Guru Granth Sahib, the universal inscription for all of us to take instruction from. And then finally, after doing all this, they sacrificed themselves and become the king of the Shaheeds. They taught us that they sacrificed, the concept of sacrifice. The color of Kesari Rang, this Rang, is the color of Shahidi, martyrdom. There's no other color that is the color of martyrdom. And you've got to be very careful, because politically people try to take away the significance of colors in the Sikh faith, but they're actually what they're trying to do is making us forget the color of sacrifice. They're taking away the concept of Shahidi of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. They're taking away the concept of the Shahidi of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. And countless many hundreds of thousands of Gursikhs. Simran, Seva and sacrifice were all embodied. So Guru Arjan Dev Ji are the Nishan Sahib as well. Guru Har Gobind Ji built the Tal Takht. That throne there is higher than the throne of Gurli. It's high, actually by foot is higher, because Maharaj is the highest. Spiritual power is higher than
temporal power. And then it was attacked 4 times. The Delhi attacked 4 times. Not Katha side, but generally came to battle 4 times. And Maharaj won each battle. One on their daughter's wedding. On the wedding day of their own daughter, our party Guru Har Gobind is fighting a battle against the Mughals on the day of his daughter's wedding. Self-determination and establishing faith as the rider of the horse. The horse is politics and worldly power. They are the former Nishan Sahib. Guru Har Rai Sahib had a store of medicine at Kirpur Sahib. They gave medicine. Dara Shikoh, who was a descendant of Babur, he was ill because his own brother tried to poison him. He poisoned him. The only antidote was found in the store, medicine store of Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, and he came for that. Nowhere else was that ingredient found. Guru Har Rai Ji cured him. 18 times the Mughals attacked Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj. Many people don't guard of this in history. 18 times Aurangzeb and his forces attacked Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj. Guru Har Rai Sahib had 2,200 cavalrymen at all times. Maharaj was given a button instruction by Singh Ji, never show your faith to the Mughals, don't meet them. And the second thing they said was, never engage in battle with them. Only Maharaj knows what they said that. 18 times they couldn't touch Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj. Something would happen, either the Guru Sikhs would fight them off, or they'd just fall, they'll fail in between. You can imagine whole army 18 times coming to attack from Delhi. That's why Aurangzeb was so desperate by the time of Guru Har Krishan Ji Maharaj. He wanted to see Guru Har Krishan Ji Maharaj because he known he's failed 18 times. This is the Guru Har Krishan Ji Maharaj who gave voice to someone who couldn't speak. Chaju Tiber. He gave ears to someone who couldn't hear. And this person, just by having the bamboo stick put on his head, started reciting the meanings of really complicated Dharma scriptures. And the reason why they did that is because there was a Pandit who was egotistical in that area, who was winning everyone's discussions and debates by, he had a whole camp. Because what would happen if you won a debate, you would keep the books of that person you defeated. So he had a person who was full of ego, who was a Pandit, and he had a camel loaded with all these scriptures, and he came to Maharaj, you're 5 years old, how can you be called Krishna Bhagavan? Krishna wrote the Bhagavad Gita. You heard of that book, the Bhagavad Gita, yeah? He didn't write it, he recited the quatrains in it. And he said, how can you be Hare Krishna? And Maharaj said, well, what do you want? He goes, can you explain the meanings? He goes, no, you go and find a person that you want to get the meanings done from. And that guy thought he was clever, he brought a deaf and dumb Jiva to the place. How is he going to speak? How is he going to hear? And no problem for Guru Har Krishan Ji Maharaj, because they're all powerful. Put the stick on his head, he started speaking and started giving the meanings like no one else. He defeated the Pandit. That Pandit became a Gursikh. That Pandit became Shi, that Chamkar the Gadi. That egotistical person. Think how I can't explain how this Nishan has continued through the time. Guru Har Krishan Ji Maharaj then gave the Gurta Gadi to the ninth form. We know the story, the Pandits came, they were being stressed out by Aurangzeb, forcefully converted. Yeah? Sava man of Brahmin strings were collected every day. Sava man pata kinna hunda 60 kilos of strings every day, forcefully converted. Can you imagine how much how much does a piece of string weigh? 10 milligrams, whatever, yeah? 60 kg of it every day. Forcefully converted. The mosques were growing, the mandars were being broken, names changed and everything. And the Pandits did prayers to their own Devate, and they got a message after the 50th day from the Devata that they were pushing, that the only person in God who can save you is the 9th Guru Nanak Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj. Go and see him. And then they came as a delegation. 9-year-old Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, who are these people? Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj says they're poor people, their faith is being desecrated and they're being forcefully converted. They want a sacrifice, a massive sacrifice is needed. 9-year-old Guru Gobind Singh said, Maharaj, there's no one greater than you, Dad, Father, who can do that sacrifice. You're the greatest. And they knew he was the greatest at that time. 26 years of Bhakti, focusing on Parameshwar Vaheguru for that task. So the beaten Nishans of other faiths turned to the Sikh Nishan side for assistance. That's what we're trying to get through here. Not all be like, look at what's going on in the country at the moment, these riots going on. Yeah? It's growing, isn't it? Think about what's happening around us. This right-wing kind of ideology is growing more and more gun. How long is it going to be before they start saying to us, convincing people in power, like the Farages and all these individuals, you know, country though? How long is it? The Rwanda thing was just discussed in the last government. How long is it before they start saying that? We've got to be prepared. Our Guru is giving Bhatts to people. Are we getting those Bhatts from Maharaj? Are we serving Guru Sahib with that ilk in our mind, with that thought in our mind? Maharaj can give us anything. Be proud of that. Because at that time, when this thing starts happening to us, at that time, we're going to turn to our Guru, won't we? So why not turn to him now? So, 10th Guru, the Nishan Sahib, the Dharam Toja actually became known as the Nishan Sahib at the 10th Guru's time. And you can see the base of it, the actual sikya of it, like it flows in the wind, and the flag calls people from far to the house of the Guru, welcomes to all. The khanda at the top is double-bladed, which is spiritual power and temporal power are important. We can't separate those two aspects. It's the color of orange, the color of martyrdom. There's a kamar kasa, a band that is tied on the middle of the Nishan Sahib, or right at the top of the Nishan Sahib sometimes, right? That, the kamar kasa means be ever ready. Shubh karman te kabhu na duro. Always be ready to do the righteous task. And then you have the thara at the bottom, the round thara. That thara is above the earth. Live your life uniquely compared to everyone else. That's the sikya of the Nishan Sahib. And there's one more thing. There's orange ties that we tie. There are promises to the Guru that Maharaj, I will keep it out. I will grow my case. I will keep my kakar. I want to fast forward very quickly because I think the other things that appear in Nishan, this text is called a Sportak Svaye. It's a little verse that comes at the end of Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and it explains the wrath of a Gursikh. You can read it there. The following 5 Ks are the insignia, the Nishan of Sikhi on our body. They say they can never be parted from the body. Gada, Karpan, Kashara and Kanga. The 5th being Kes, without which the previous 4 are useless. Kes is important as long as the other 4. So there are 4 H's to avoid. No lies to be told in this. Hufka, tobacco, hajamat, cutting case, eating meat and haram, committing sexual relationships or adultery in marriage or any relationship outside marriage. Tying beards and the wearing of mehndi are strictly forbidden. I've been seeing weddings. I don't know. There's weddings that take place where they have mehndi nights and the males are putting mehndi on their hands. What's going on? No, it's true. And what happens is when you look at TikTok, that's become the rab, hasn't it? You see people, Gursikhs now, dancing in parties and stuff. That's not Gursikhi. I'm sorry, that's someone's own wish which has been fueled on the back half of TikTok and an Instagram Sikhi. True Sikhi is founded in the establishment or in the company of Panch Pyare and follows the instructions of the Panch Pyare. It's something to think about. Our faith is being kind of watered down. And finally, when you look at the content, this is a sloop written by Baba Deep Singh Ji, and it's quite a prevalent thing. You look carefully, Jap is the title of the Bani, Japji Sahib. It says, Jap, what does it say? Nisan. Japji Sahib is always signed as Nisan, as the symbol of faith. So Japji Sahib, in the contents of every Guru Granth Sahib Pratham Sup are called Nisan. It's the flag itself. This is the content page of the Sroop written by Baba Deep Singh Ji, and it links back to this, the final few words in that Hanki that we started out. The humble fact, Mukta says, this truth from his heart. There is nothing else to discuss beyond this. The name of God is the books, because Japji Sahib is our starting point. If we can spot Japji Sahib in our lives, if you're doing 1, do 2. If you're doing 2, do 3. Build it up. Times it by 5, if you can, right? Increase it more and more. The more you get to do Japji Sahib, the more Brahma and the rest of it, and that's the part. We'll finish up with the Aarti Panktiyan. Matra jan jaan kahi ji saach so aur kachu na vicharan ko har naam bohe se bado kal mein sagar par ko taran ko.